in this building. Goran Sutan, Travis Walton era, those are some good times. I know Coach knows about that. Sports here is so good, and the events here are reaching new heights. I can tell you firsthand how these events lift up the local community and shine a light on all that is great about the city of Detroit and the local region. Let's get started with our first speaker, President and CEO of the Detroit Lions and Ford Field, Rod Wood.
Thanks, Jamie. Good morning, everybody. Thankfully, we didn't have the ice storm that was predicted, so that everybody could get here safely. We're so excited to have the Final Four coming back to Ford Field. It was here in 2009, as Jamie mentioned. When we hosted it the first time, we set all-time attendance records for the first day and the second day and the combined 2 days, thanks in part, I think, to Coach Izzo and his team for being here. And I don't know if it was an upset or not, Coach, but you beat Connecticut in the semis, and it was crazy Monday. I don't know if Coach will, I'm sure, remember this, but Saturday was a beautiful, sunny spring day, and Monday we had a snowstorm. So you got to experience the full Michigan April in one weekend. And we're looking forward to having another full house here. We've hosted so many great events at Ford Field. This is another one. We're so excited to have it back, and hopefully we don't have to wait 18 years again to bring it back here. So enjoy the morning. Looking forward to the rest of the speakers. And we have a big game on Sunday, so I have to say go Lions.
Rod and I talked about that. I'm from Pittsburgh, but we're still friends. All right, thank you, Rod. Our next speaker needs no introduction, the mayor of the city of Detroit, the Honorable Mike Duggan.
Well, good morning. This is a great day. Thank you to Rod Wood and the Lions for what they're doing, Dave Beach now, and Visit Detroit and the local organizing committee. And Michigan State, Jay Batt, Coach Izzo, they have been a driving force behind landing this Final Four for a while. I did an earlier pitch in the year we didn't get it. And our chief presenter was a young man by the name of Cassius Winston, who was still playing at Michigan State, did a tremendous presentation. So the persistence of the Michigan State team helped push us across the finish line. So I was here in 2009 the last time. It was a time where the city was facing some struggles, and we still pulled off a successful Final Four. But as you saw last year with the NFL draft, Detroit is definitely ready for the national spotlight. And I'm really glad to see us kicking off the logo. And with some luck, we could see Detroit Final Four with the Michigan State Spartans and maybe even the Michigan Wolverines. Now, wouldn't that be something? But congratulations to everybody who made this possible.
Thank you, Mayor. Our next speaker represents Michigan State University as the NCAA host institution for the 2027 Men's Final Four, MSU Athletic Director Jay Batt.
Well, good morning, Mayor. I'll take the MSU in the Final Four. That sounds good to me. We're excited to be here today and to host, be the host institution for the 2027 Final Four. You know, it's a wonderful opportunity for us to have so many Spartans here in Southeast Michigan. We have hundreds of thousands of Spartans in this community, and it's so important for us to continue to be active and support these local events. It's also appropriate that MSU host this event because in 2003, basketball actually set the stage for having basketball events in a football arena, and I actually think the mastermind for that is here. One of my predecessors, Mark Hollis. Mark, are you here? I'll give you a round of applause. Thanks for coming up with that idea. And as many people have mentioned, 2009 was a great opportunity for our Spartans, and we look forward to being back again. I can personally attest as a student athlete, certainly not in the sport of basketball, but just how important these events are. what they mean for a student athlete, and to compete for a national championship is the ultimate prize for a student athlete. And so this event here in Detroit will be tremendously impactful for student athletes that have the opportunity to compete. There's no greater feeling than winning an NCAA championship, and thank you to the NCAA team for their work and the organizing committee for making that a possibility. As a department, we're happy to be a part of this, look forward to doing everything we can to make this a great event in support of everyone here. So thanks so much. Let's have a great day. Go Green.
All right, thank you, Jay. Our next speakers are the co-hosts of the Detroit Local Organizing Committee. You will lead the planning and execution of the host effort for the Final Four, supporting the NCAA. Let's welcome Nancy Tello, founder of Bass Blue, and City of Detroit Chief of Police Todd Edison.
But we will. It's really an honor today to join the chief in leading the Detroit Local Organizing Committee along with the Detroit Sports Commission, Visit Detroit, the City of Detroit, and our host, Michigan State University, as we prepare to welcome the 2027 NCAA Men's Final Four. It's truly an exciting time to be in Detroit, and in just 16 months, the passion, the energy, and the excitement of March Madness will take over our city. From the arena to the downtown streets filled with fans and NC2A events that showcase Detroit at its best. Having spent many years at CBS, that was my job several decades ago, I know firsthand the power of March Madness. The drama, the emotion, the shared experience it creates is really unmatched. The 2027 Final Four will be a defining moment for Detroit, unforgettable for those in the building and for the millions watching on CBS. But this event is more than basketball. It's really about its impact. And a central focus of our work is leaving Detroit stronger than we found it. Through the Detroit Sports Commission Living Legacy Initiative, we will use the platform for youth play across the region and advancing youth literacy here in the city. In the months ahead, we'll be announcing several initiatives that reflect Detroit's heart, resilience, and future. This is our moment. We're ready to deliver, so stay tuned.
Well, I am very, very excited. Let me echo my co-chair Nancy Tellum's remarks and say that on behalf of the City of Detroit and the Detroit Police Department, Detroit, as always, will be prepared to ensure a safe and secure event for the 2027 NCAA Men's Final Four. We have lots of strategic and tactical experience when it comes to hosting major events. For example, the NFL Draft, which went off without a hit. It was phenomenal. The Detroit Grand Prix, previous NCAA tournament games, the Lions playoff games, and more. Detroit, this is what we do. To prepare for the 2027, myself and my Detroit Police Department leadership team will travel in the 2026 Men's Final Four to Indianapolis. And we will observe the best practices used by local organizers and law enforcement agencies. For 2027, we will develop a layered safety approach, collaborating with our local, our state, and our federal partners to ensure that our businesses and our community has a safe event. In addition to making sure that this event is safe, our Detroit police officers are also trained to be ambassadors. We will be helping and hosting our fans find their way around Detroit, whether they're walking, whether they're utilizing a City of Detroit bus, VDOT, or whether or not they're taking our Q-Line train, we will ensure that everybody experiences Detroit at its best. The Detroit Police Department is ready. The city is ready. So let's tip off the countdown to March Madness. Let's go, Detroit.
All right, thank you, Chief. Thank you, Nancy. Now it's time for our panelists to join me on stage at these beautiful seats here. I will introduce you as you're coming up. How about that? We have Dan Gavitt, Senior VP, Men's Basketball, NCAA. We have Dave Beechnaw, CEO, Detroit Local Organizing Committee. We have Martin Newton, Athletic Director, Stanford University, Chairman, 2026-2027 NCAA Men's Basketball. Of course, Head Coach Tom Izzo. All right, I'm going to start with Dan Gavitt. Tell us what you know about the history of March Madness as it ties to our state here in Michigan.
Well, first of all, we're thrilled to be back here in Detroit. As everyone's mentioned, the second Final Four we played here, the first since 2009. We're looking forward to working with the Detroit Sports Commission under Dave's leadership, and of course Michigan State University, our host institution, who has such incredible history here in Detroit, but with the tournament overall, which I'll talk about here in a moment. So excited about this. The tournament has changed an awful lot since 2009, but of course the city of Detroit has changed an awful lot since that time as well. This is great history here in the state for March Madness. While this is the second time for the Final Four, there have been 46 March Madness games played in the state of Michigan. The very first time was in 1963 at the old home of the Spartans, Jennison Fieldhouse, that hosted the first NCAA March Madness game. That was the Mid-East Regional. Since that time, as I mentioned, there's been 46 other games that have been played here in the state of Detroit, in Auburn Hills, in Pontiac, in East Lansing, and of course here in Detroit as well. We have the support of our NCAA Corporate Championship partners to thank as well. We couldn't do this without their support, supporting 1,100 schools and conferences at the NCAA. We want to thank them for their continued support as we support all 92 NCAA championships. If we could scroll a little bit more here, I got this. As I mentioned, in 1988, on the way to winning the 50th NCAA tournament, Kansas won the regional here, and 3 years later, Duke and Coach K won their first national championship coming out of the state of Michigan as well. In 2008, Kansas championship came through Detroit when Ford Field first hosted the NCAA tournament. The Jayhawks won the regional in front of 57,000 fans. As Rod mentioned, incredible support here at Ford Field. And those crowds are still attendance records for both the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 rounds of the tournament. There was also a player that played in that regional that no one knew very much about at the time, but Steph Curry was on the Davidson team that almost made it to the Final Four that year as well. But I imagine, however, the championship you all would rather hear about that involved the team going through this great state on the way to capturing a national championship was the great 2000 Tom Izzo-led Michigan State team that won the regional in Auburn Hills before winning the title in Indianapolis. The Flintstones included Mateen Cleaves, Charlie Bell, and Morris Peterson, who are all, of course, legends in this area. As I mentioned, several games and student athletes who created plenty of shining moments. There's also appropriate to acknowledge someone who's here with us this morning, and that's David Barrett, who wrote what's become the anthem for March Madness, One Shining Moment. This is the 40th anniversary next year of the first time that One Shining Moment was played. It was written in 1986, played in 1987, and has been played at the conclusion of the tournament every year since. David, I don't know where you are, but if you could stand and be recognized, there he is right here, David Barrett. Thank you for being here. This logo we're about to unveil will be seen globally to remind college basketball fans all over the world that Detroit, Michigan will be the center of the college basketball universe in 2027. And finally, it's worth noting that World Basketball Day is this Sunday, December 21st. It's a day for celebrating the birth of the game, and we're thrilled to be in Michigan, where youth and high school basketball, as well as college and professional basketball, is so beloved. And we're excited about the game tomorrow with Michigan State and Oakland, and thrilled to be celebrating the game of basketball here in Michigan. Thanks for attending, and we're looking forward to being back here time and again to get ready for the 2027 Men's Final Four.
Wow, Dan, that was one question. Dave, I have two for you. The first one is, it's been 18 years since we last hosted the Final Four. There have been some swings and misses along the way. Just get into sort of the process of all of it.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge Joanne Scott, who's here, Vice President of Men's Basketball with the NCAA, and her leadership has been instrumental for me and for our Detroit local organizing committee. To your point, 18 years since we last hosted the Final Four, and it's not your father's Final Four anymore, right? But the Final Four's changed dramatically in so many ways, but so has our city. Since 2009, it's hardly recognizable, and certainly it's been bricks and mortar, but it's mostly the people. I mean, I'm looking around this room right now, and everyone in this room representing themselves, organizations, over the past 7 or 8 years, we've really galvanized, we've collaborated. Everyone has leaned in to what's important, and when you look back no further than the NFL draft, how everyone came together to make that a special event, and we expect the same will happen in 2027. But to your question about how we landed the Final Four, the swings and misses, of course, and that's part of the process. But our full bid presentation team is here today, and I'll never forget on Halloween of 2022, walking in that room, making our final presentation to the Division I Men's Basketball Committee. And we left it all out on the court, so to speak. And when we walked out of that room, I think to a man we felt like we made it extremely difficult for the committee to say no to Detroit. And certainly it's the bricks and mortar, and we checked all the boxes, and the building, the hotels, and everything that's required. But it's really the people and the transformation that we've gone through. And again, looking around this room, standing room only for an event like this, 6 days before a holiday, what other city will do this, right? So congratulations to everyone here. And we know that it takes more than one person, one organization. It takes a village, and we need everyone in this room and those not in the room to lean in some way to make this the most special Final Four that Detroit can possibly host.
Excellent. Full court press, if you will, right? All right, talk about the experience. Even if you don't have a ticket to come to the game or the games, what does it mean for the other folks?
Well, that's right. It's a new Final Four, and you'll hear this time and time again. No ticket, no problem. Not everyone will have game tickets, but that's okay. Final Four weekend has been amplified, so think about an A-list music festival, the March Madness Music Festival. It'll run Friday through Sunday, and you'll hear this time and time again too, free and open to the public. Final Four Fan Fest, which will be held right here in downtown Detroit. Sponsor activations, interactive opportunities. It's a great event for family, kids of all ages, right? And so that'll run Friday through Monday, and that's largely free and open to the public. And it's a great way to celebrate and be a part of Final Four weekend. And then there are many others. But the question is always, from a community perspective, what's left behind when Final Four leaves town? There are a couple of community initiatives that I'll just touch on briefly. A newer program since we last hosted was Read to the Final Four. It's a 3rd grade reading competition that will tip off in fall of 2026. Schools from around Metro Detroit and even within the state of Michigan will be able to register to compete for prizes along the way, and then early 2027 we'll bracket out those top schools, and the Final Four schools will be invited to attend Final Four and be celebrated on Monday. And then finally, one of my favorite events since I've been going to Final Four, I think since 2003, is the Final Four dribble. This is an event where, if you can imagine, 3,000 kids dribbling basketballs down the streets of Detroit. Kids register, it's free. They'll get a t-shirt, a basketball. We'll start from an origination point, and they'll dribble to the Fan Fest. So quite a sight. You've got killing basketballs, their parents chasing them, right? And then they'll end at Fan Fest for, again, free entry. So this is just a sampling of what Final Four weekend looks like now. And I couldn't be more proud to help lead this effort. But again, I've heard from so many people already who want to be a part of it. How can they help? How can they get involved? And please, by all means, reach out to me. And then I will just add one more thing. Later this afternoon, we'll be launching Final4Detroit.com. So please go and sign up. It'll be populated once we get past that other Final Four that's taking place in Indianapolis in a few months. But we'll need volunteers, we'll need others to help support, and then certainly more information about Final Four weekend will be coming in the months ahead.
All right, thank you so much. My 3-year-old needs to get into dribble training, it seems like.
So do I.
Martin Newton, again, Athletic Director of Stanford University, Chairman of the 26-27 NCAA men's basketball. Martin, tell us a little bit about how the NCAA committee determines the teams, the seedings, the bracket, what will go in that process for competition. Could Michigan and Michigan State play each other?
Well, I'll get back to you on that one later. I'll have to earn the way in, but thank you for having us here. Good stop. Yeah, no hall pass, sorry. But first of all, thank you to the city of Detroit, to Dave and his team, the local organizing committee, Jay, you and your team, Michigan State. On behalf of the committee, we're excited to be here. We're really looking forward to this. It dawned on me that we're 6 weeks into the season. I know it feels a lot longer for you, but we're 6 weeks into the season already, and we've already seen an incredible teams. There's a couple of teams, several teams from here in Michigan that look pretty good, incredible performances, and I think it just makes for a really exciting rest of the season as we then roll into a historic March Madness in Indianapolis, where this year we will crown a champion not only for Division I, but for Division II, Division III, as well as the NIT. So I'm really excited. If you're a basketball junkie, this is a great time of year, right? Speaking of historic, though, and I realize how old you and I are getting. It was 17 years ago that the Final Four was hosted here. In fact, I was with you in Indianapolis when you upset the Louisville Cardinals to get here. So this is a historic Final Four. But not only that, you think about 2009. Jay, you mentioned it earlier about Mark Hollis. This was the first Final Four that we had the seating in the round, where the court was put in the center of the field as opposed to the end. It would just allow more fans to have access to this incredible event. So we're so grateful to this community. We're so grateful to all those that are involved with the early planning stages for the 2027 Final Four and what you've done so far. And this is going to be a great experience. We know it's going to be a great experience for our student athletes and our fans. As for your question, finally, right, that's kind of a theme up here, right? We got to say what we want.
One question.
We finally get to the question. As for selecting, seeding the teams in the bracket, it's a month-long process. It begins with the start of the season. But once we're in that selection room, obviously there's tough decisions that have to be made, but the heavy lifting has really already been completed. We spend countless hours, the committee does, from the start of November, the season, through March. So that by the time that we are in that room, the 12 committee members are prepared for the deliberations, for the discussions, and the process that goes into creating that bracket. So hopefully that answers your question.
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
All right.
But thank you so much. I hope you guys are half as excited as we are to be hosting the Final Four here.
I just want to mention one other thing. He would be too modest to say, but next year when Martin Newton will be chair of this committee, it'll be very historic because it'll become the first time in the history of the men's basketball championship and the committee that a son and a father served as the chair of the Division I men's basketball committee. Martin's late dad, the great C.M. Newton, Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Famer, was the chair of the men's basketball committee at one time. And now Martin, following his legacy, will lead the men's basketball committee next year. So special thanks to you and your dad for all you've done for March Madness, Martin.
That's great. What a legacy for your family. And we have a legend on the corner there, Tom Izzo. Everybody knows him. Your experience in participating and winning NCAA men's Final Fours. What does it mean to you for MSU to have the designation as NCAA host institution for the event here?
Well, I don't know where to start, but since everybody else rambled, I might as well ramble too. Number one, Rod, I played, I've gotten a chance to play in a lot of Final Fours, thank God, and the venue here, to me, with the sight lines and everything, and when we played at Kentucky here in 2003, which had to be, when did the building open? 2002, so that next year we played that game here, and Tubby Smith and I still talk about it to this day. It was, I remember riding in, and there were people tailgating for a basketball game, that's supposed to be football, and then it made me realize how cool it was setting. So thank you and all the people at Ford Field. And Nancy, it's interesting because your husband is supposedly the star, but I realized up at Mackinac Island a few years ago that you're really the force behind the force, and he's having great success now with the Pistons and all they're doing, but everybody's talked so highly of you down here. I want to thank you. Our chief of police, I just want to give you a warning that when we played in the Final Four last time, we won Saturday night. It was unbelievable setting, and I went back to the locker room, and our president was there, and my AD and Magic, and my best friend Mariucci, and everybody was in the locker room, and then somebody came in and said, "Oh, the streets are just crazy, good crazy, not bad crazy." I said, if I had any courage, I'd take my team out there, because at that time we had to stay up in Troy. There weren't the same amount of hotels down here, and we were kind of away from it, and Magic said, "Let's do it, coach, let's do it." I said, "Yeah, and then if I lose Monday night, everybody will be mad at me." So I didn't do it, but the practice between Saturday and Monday on Sunday is closed to everybody. CBS has one person, and you sat in on that, right? Danny, somebody from the NCAA, and nobody else in the building. It's kind of eerie. So the chief at the time of the police department asked if the people that worked and spent so many hours could come in and watch practice. So I said, sure, love to have you. I figured there'd be 20 guys, and so we come walking out of the tunnel, and there's 200 police officers in uniform sitting there. Hell, my guys were so scared they thought they were getting arrested, so they all bolted. I had to change practice. So this time, tell me ahead of time, if we're fortunate enough to get here, I want to warn my guys, but I do want to thank you. And, Danny and Joanne have done so much for me in my career. I've been on a lot of committees with them, and it was Joanne. We talked in some of those meetings, I love John Thompson. He was the best. And still one of the best ever. But, he kept his team. I think when they played in Lexington, Kentucky, he kept them in Louisville, make sure nobody would bother him, I'm kind of a little different. I kind of want my players to enjoy, and I was fortunate enough, thanks to the work you guys did, that when we played in Indianapolis in 2015, it was the first time we were all allowed downtown, and our families and everybody could be together, and it was incredible. and this thing is going to rock on that night. I really, really believe that. And the last thank you I have to give, one shining moment. I didn't even know what one shining moment was, to be very honest with you. And I had my kid, Mateen Cleaves, and that whole year, all he kept talking about is he'd make us play that song in practice. And I said, what the hell is that for, And, Coach, don't you ever watch the end? Yeah, I watch it. He goes, and he just made that the mantra of our season. And to this day, if he's doing something big, I just say one shining moment. He knows what's going on. So thank you for what you did for all of us, not only in the sport of basketball, but for everybody, because one shining moment is a special thing. And what CBS Nancy has done with that, and just the sights and the sounds brings chills. Mayor Duggan just maybe left a little early, but I will say this, he went to Michigan, and when he said it'd be nice at Michigan State, I'd sign up for that tomorrow. It'd be the greatest. It'd be the greatest. And want to throw Oakland in there? They were in the Sweet 16 a couple of years ago. That would be fine with me. And if we can find another, maybe we'll bring Northern Michigan into Division I then, and we'll bring us all here. But I do want to say that thank God his son overcame his heredity and went to Michigan State. So even the mayor I love at this moment in time. But I do believe that stranger things have happened. Michigan is very, very good right now, and we're kind of hanging in there. So we'll just keep hanging in there. But if you don't think the goal of everybody in this state will be to play here, you had to be with Martin and I. Because Martin was my Nike rep, and he was with me in Indy. And we were playing not just for Michigan State that weekend. We were playing for the state of Michigan, because that's when the economy and the auto industry and everything went down. And I had so many guys from this state. It started with Steve Smith, and he was my first recruit out of here, and what a special kid he's been. But that pregame meal on that Sunday morning was all about, we're not just playing for Magic or for Steve or for all the great players that played at Michigan State. We were actually playing for the people of the state of Michigan. And was that a burden? I don't think so. I think that was a motivating factor. And when we won that game, I can't think of a Final Four I've been in that meant more to me, including winning the national championship. But coming home when our state was in a little bit of a tough time, and being able to bring some smiles to people who hadn't had those. So basketball, as Danny knows, Joanne knows, they do this all over the country. As Martin knows, because he's been a part of it, he can do a lot of wonderful things. And I don't even remember what the hell your damn question was, Jimmy. Nor do I care what your question was. Because I think that being here, Rod, in one of the greatest venues to host basketball, in other words, it's a great football venue, but some football venues aren't as good. The sight lines here, I'll never forget that day I took my team up to the top row when we practiced here. And I said, somebody's going to be sitting here watching you. Look at the great view they're going to have. So I think in every way, shape, or form what the city has done, I'm honored that our school is representing this. I'm appreciative of the NCAA for selecting us. Dave, as you said, I was in that room that day too, and you guys did an unbelievable job. And I think that hopefully once the Final Four is over this year, I came down to the draft, phenomenal. I did not get down for the race, but I will next time we have it. But I hope we spend a year trying to get this to be the greatest Final Four ever. And if Michigan and Michigan State could find their way in it, that would be great. If they can't, I'm still going to be a big-time supporter of what you all have done to maybe bring basketball to our great city. Because the one thing I've learned living in the UP, and I was talking to Nancy, and I'm so proud of her because she came from California, and she ain't complaining about the weather. So God bless you, but I come from when there's 11 months of winter, 1 month of poor sledding, you know, where I'm from. So we're a little tougher up there, but it doesn't matter if you live in the UP or in Grand Rapids or in Kalamazoo or Saginaw or Flint, or when the best city, the biggest city in your state is doing well, the rest of the state is doing well. And that's what I've learned in my years, never leaving the state except for 6 weeks to go to Tulsa. Proud of it, happy with it, thankful to all of you, and I think you guys are going to be impressed. It was good in '09, but it made it better because we did have a home school there. But what they've done to this city, the hotels, the things around here, it's going to be elite in 27. And I thank you all for that. And Jimmy, if I didn't answer your question, whatever the hell that question was, I had fun doing this, and I appreciate all of it.
Thank you, Coach. I actually had 3 questions, but you answered them all in one. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Dan now for the big reveal.
All right, well, the moment has finally arrived. Let's take a look at the graphic identity of the 2027 NCAA Men's Final Four here in Detroit.
In all the years, no one knows just how hard you work, but now it shows in one shining moment. It's all
The 2027 Men's Final Four logo serves as a tribute to Detroit's heritage and toughness. Indianapolis-based Section 127 designers took inspiration from the city's street signs, auto tags, and industrial roots. The 313 area code represents Detroit's deep-rooted sense of pride and place, while the basketball record graphic suggests the spirit of Hitsville and the city's Motown legacy. The brackets frame Detroit to visually show the city is at the center of the celebration. Hope you enjoy this incredible logo that will represent your great city all around the world. Thank you again for everyone's work in not only making today's event happen, but also the work that will take place up to and through the 2027 Men's Final Four. I'd like to just take one moment to thank our NCAA men's basketball post-grad intern, Katie King, who had a lot to do with today's ceremony. Thank you, Katie, for your great work. Happy holidays to all of you. Enjoy tomorrow's game, and we look forward to being here in April of 2027 to have an incredible men's Final Four. Thank you.